Guys, I have no idea what I just watched last night, and honestly, I have no idea how to react to it. The Celtics survive a massive upset in game one and then beat the Pacers in an overtime thriller, but that's not even the headline of this game. The headline is that the Pacers absolutely collapsed and handed this game to the Boston Celtics and possibly even handed them any chance of them winning this series or even making it a series that goes 6 or 7 games. So I wanted to record this video last night right after the game, but I had to give myself some time to process exactly what I just watched. The Celtics unsurprisingly showcased their late game woes and their inability to finish close games, but they got away with it because the Pacers showcased their inexperience or whatever you want to call it because they just absolutely collapsed in the closing seconds. So that's where I will start before I get into the rest of this game. To me, the dumb plays and the stupid plays started when the Pacers were up 3. I believe it was 115 to 112, and the Celtics are pushing the ball up the floor. And Derek White pulls up for a deep three off of the pitch from Drew Holiday, and it gets blocked from behind. And honestly, it wasn't necessarily the fact that it got blocked, although he should have known that there was a trailing defender behind the play, but he threw his hands up at Drew Holiday like he should have told him that there was a guy coming behind him. But the real problem on this play was that he had the nerve to shoot that shot at this moment in the game. It reminded me of something that Marcus Smart would have done when he was there. And, when you have players like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on that team, you do not shoot a quick, bad, deep three, bad shot like that in the final 2 minutes without neither one of the two of them touching the ball or even being involved in that action. So I'm fine with him shooting the ball and down the stretch of a game. I'm fine with really anybody on that team shooting the ball for that matter, but not without either one of their main two guys touching it or, like I said, being involved in the action at all. So that was the first bad mistake that I was just rolling my eyes and just shaking my head at. Then about a minute later, with about 40 seconds left, the Pacers were still up with the Celtics inbounding it from the sideline. And Neesmith comes over and tries to gamble and tries to get the steal on the pass to Tatum and doesn't get it. And Tatum is able to walk into a wide open three. And obviously he missed it, so he got away with it. But that's just something that you don't do, and that's basic fundamentals that you don't gamble on a pass that late in the game. Then off of that, the Pacers got the rebound and they had the ball with a chance to ice it. And they're dribbling up the floor. And Halliburton, who is a great ball handler and don't really turn the ball over at all at any time in the game. I think he had one turnover up until this point. Just dribbles the ball off his foot, and it leads to a turnover, and Boston gets the ball back. Then, off of that, Derek White drives in again with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum not being involved in the action and smokes a layup, and Tatum somehow scraps and claws and gets the offensive rebound, and then he rushes a mid-range turnaround fadeaway that was just a horrible shot at that point in the game. They had plenty of time to get something better, and instead he forced the super contested fadeaway, and the Pacers got the rebound and then got fouled. So, again, it looked like the Pacers had complete control of this game and were about to stun the Celtics in game one and had it fully under control. And they have a sideline out of bounds in the backcourt from where they just got fouled at. And they decided not to use the timeout to advance it. And so I guess they were going to save it if they got to a worst case scenario. And then on this play, on this inbound, there were a few mistakes that were made on this one play. First, Halliburton does not break to the ball hard and does not break towards the ball. Second, Siakam runs a straight line towards the baseline instead of running at an angle towards the ball where he can get Jaylen Brown on his hip and be able to fend him off so he can't reach around and knock the ball loose. Third, Nimhard, who's throwing the ball in, tries to force it to him instead of waiting another second and calling a timeout if nothing comes open. Fourth, the coach doesn't call a timeout. And then fifth, Siakam tries to save the ball instead of making the officials make that tough call. And then obviously it was probably going to have to get reviewed, but you never know what happens in a situation like that. There's no way that he knew he was the one that hit it out of bounds because after they slowed it down a few times, you still really couldn't tell, and the officials would have had to take a long, hard look at that. So there was 5 mistakes made on that play, and that's just the few that I named. There was probably more that were happening in the front court that I could have pointed out, and obviously that gave the ball back to the Celtics. And then to compound it, they're still up 3, but they make some simple defensive mistakes. To me, the best, and to most people, the best coverage in that situation when you're up 3 is you switch everything and you switch it everywhere. It's not like a switch could cause someone to get an easy layup because of the mismatch or whatever, because regardless, at that point in the game with that much time left, it's going to have to be a contested 3 or a quick 2. So even allowing Brown to come open for a split second because they did not switch it and Siakam got caught up on the screen and obviously Brown caught it in the corner, Halliburton made a key mistake. He was guarding the inbounder and he was just kind of standing there, not really being active with his hands, and he was standing straight in front of Drew Holiday, like directly straight in front of him. But basic fundamentals would tell you that you angle yourself at a way to where you prevent that cross court baseline pass from even getting there in the first place, and that can't even be an option. But obviously he gives it open. Jaylen Brown gets it, and the rest is history because None of that happens, and Brown sends it to overtime where Tatum kind of took over and led the Celtics to the win. So there were some horrible mistakes that were made down the stretch of this game, by both teams, but the more deadly ones obviously turned out to be the Pacers, or the team that took advantage of those mistakes was the Celtics, and they ultimately won the game. But other than that, it was a pretty good game. It was high scoring, fast paced, like I thought it would be, and pretty fun to watch. It was full of runs where Boston would kind of go on one and look like they were about to take control of the game, and Indiana would respond with a run of their own and get back in it. So, the Pacers they just had way too many turnovers, and the free throw disparity was like 28-6 or something like that. But they still should have won this game. What not could have? They should have won this game despite the turnover disparity and despite the free throw disparity. But with all that being said, and while it does hurt to lose this game, and it's going to be tough for them to come back from, because they could have stole game one, flipped home court advantage, and then obviously all the pressures on the Celtics in game two, and they get to come in with house money and just let it fly and play fast, and you never know, you might go in there and be able to steal two, and then you never know what can happen. But instead, now Boston's up 1-0. They're going to come out and probably be more free, and they're going to be more on a mission and probably going to dominate you in game two, and then obviously you're going to have to go try to protect your home court. But this series is still far from over, in my opinion. The Pacers proved that they can play with the Celtics, and they just have to be better down the stretch of the games and clean up some of their turnover problems, and there will for sure be some more close games if they do that, and there'll be some more good games in this series. But as I always like to say, and as many people say, a series does not start until someone wins a game on the road. And the Pacers had their chance, obviously, but all is not lost for them. They still got a chance to do it in game two. If they protect home court, they're going to have a chance to do it in game five, and then potentially even game seven. So, and then on the Boston side of things, they obviously snuck by and survived. So maybe this will kind of wake them up, and they will come out and dominate in game two. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out some more of our content.